Do I have to take my glasses off? Because I think my glasses are reflecting in the camera. If they're not, then that's fine.
Once I throw on this bow, chicka wow wow.
That's what we're talking right now, about the female orgasm and the orgasm gap, they call it, and the politics behind it and the sociology behind it, because it's a widely underrepresented subject. A lot of academia have tried to cover it, but it's the social attitudes and the media discourses and the language that we use, that and the way of socializing our children, that lead to this being such a taboo subject and this being such an issue in wider society, I think, especially for women. While I completely understand the biology behind it, and you know, I understand the G-spot, well, penetrative versus clitoral stimulation, I understand the female refractory period, I understand all these things, but I feel the reason why women have, you know, when men have 3 times as many orgasms as women do when they have sex, is not a biological one, it's a social one. Yeah, women's sexuality is just so, women's sexuality is just so heavily policed. We're told when we can do it, when we can't do it, how much we're supposed to do it, how little we're supposed to do it, who we're supposed to do it with, who we're not supposed to do it with. We have a valley of just do's and don'ts and do's and don'ts and do's and don'ts that really contradict themselves. That it's the same way that socializes women into being nurturers and to being givers and to being selfless, is the same society that socializes men into heterosexual masculinity that is so selfish and so self-interested that it doesn't see women having an orgasm as something that is necessary during sexual intercourse. When guys, they see it as a bonus. It's like an ego boost rather than, you know, this is a mutual thing that we've done together, a mutual experience that we've shared, and, you know, we should be happy about that. It's more like, yeah, I did that shit. That's all me. I did that. It's like, ew, gross. Grow up. Men aren't taught to see women as masters and controllers of their own sexual agency, and if a woman does, that's scary, that's gross, that's not what it's supposed to be, apparently. A study by Elizabeth Armstrong showed that as care for a woman increases, then the frequency of orgasms increase, and when men are in a long-term relationship and when women are in a long-term relationship, that orgasm ratio goes from being 3 to 1 to being 1.25 to 1. And I know it still means men are having more orgasms, but I mean 0.25. Like I said, it doesn't come from one way, it comes from both ways. It comes from women, it comes from a lot of women, and it's so much harder to fight structures of oppression when they're entrenched within us, and when we internalize these scripts as well, and we say, no, it's not important for us to have an orgasm, and to the point that women say it's impossible for a woman to have an orgasm through penetrative sex, through, you know, women don't orgasm all the time, and that's not true. Started reading Cosmo when I was quite young. I was too young, my mum was not happy about that. But, you know, it had a lot of articles reinforcing why women have sex, what they get out of sex, and a lot of the articles always stated that it was quite difficult for a woman to orgasm during sex, and sometimes it didn't happen, but it was okay because sex is supposed to be a nurturing and a loving experience. But men aren't taught that. Men are taught that if you don't have an orgasm during sex, like, I mean, was it even really sex? Like, and you know, then a woman's orgasm isn't integral to a man's sexual experience at all, but it's integral to their own sexual experience and their own egos. And, you know, just to say the last point, like, how many women feel like they've failed sexually if their partner doesn't achieve an orgasm, but how many women feel that the same kind of failure if they don't achieve one. Men sidestep, and they sidestep around so many other explorative avenues during sex. They just see intercourse. It's real. That's real sex. That's the only thing. There's no foreplay. There's no anything. It's like sometimes it's like the woman doesn't quite even exist. She's just she could be like a carved out melon. Like, I remember when I was at school, guys always used to be like, "Oi, do you masturbate? Do you masturbate? Do you masturbate?" like that, and girls would be like, no, never do that, never do that." And it's like, well, why? Why is there such a stigma attached to women having their own sexual pleasure, but it's not the same for guys at all? There's never been a time where a guy has been stigmatized or chastised by society for coming out and saying, "Yes, I have a wank." Never. I mean, a lot of women, because of this, feel at peace. They feel at peace about their lack of orgasm. They feel like that's not what sex is about, and I feel like it's also because they haven't been allowed in the same way to actually explore their own sexuality. And again, that's a serious societal issue that says that women shouldn't do that, and it's not feminine, or, you know, it's hypersexual. And of course there is nothing worse than a hypersexual female, is there? Yet another script in society will tell you that being a hypersexual female is what men want. So again, we're back to being in this weird valley where we don't actually know which side to come out of, because the scripts are so messed up, and you can't form a logical internal dialogue with yourself about what is appropriate sexuality and what is healthy, because you're constantly being told, don't do this,